How are we doing, everybody? This is Let's Be Real with Brad, and we are going to be talking about a 2013 animated film that will be getting its long-awaited sequel next week called The Croods. Before we dive into the review, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for new videos and so that you will never miss a thing. The Croods is a computer animated adventure comedy film produced by DreamWorks Animation. The film was written and directed by Kirk D'Amico and Chris Sanders. Stars the voices of Nicolas Cage, Emma Stone, Ryan Reynolds, Catherine Keener, Clark Duke, Cloris Leachman, and Randy Thom. Also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature and lost to Disney's Frozen. I had not watched this film growing up, as many of the 20th Century Fox DreamWorks movies I somehow missed. After seeing it 7 years later, this movie was simply mediocre to me. The biggest reason for this is because the film takes a hilarious and silly concept but never goes clear narrative. The film does have its positives with the above average voice casting. Nicolas Cage, Emma Stone, and Ryan Reynolds are the highlights for me, as they do a good job with their characters, bringing a sense of energy and style to their characters. Animation is very solid as well. I love the amount of detail that is in their eyes or the small little facial features such as freckles or dimples. It makes the character feel lifelike and adds a sense of realism throughout. Sense of adventure always felt exciting with so many action sequences that are shot and presented well, which kept me thoroughly engaged. There were creative gags along with the action sequences that do become very repetitive but are funny in its initial joke. Croods themselves are likable even though they are basic characters of a stereotypical family dynamic. I still wanted to see where the film was going to take them and how they would succeed in their adventures. Humor is very funny when it isn't redundant and annoying. The idea of cavemen learning new concepts of the world, like more advanced societal tools, clothes, and ideas, are very hilarious to me. It does make some laugh out loud and creative jokes that I was very impressed by. Film overuses these later in the film and becomes a rinse and repeat cycle. But the original joke they use is very humorous. Now, going on to the negatives. Film has a complete lack of direction. First act of this film is very unpredictable because you learn about the characters, setting, and where the story is taking us. Sure, the premise and the themes the film presents is nothing new, as it does feel like a cliche trope we have seen. But then the film changes course, which worked for me until we start to get into the middle of the second act. I was ultimately bored and pulled out of the film. Probably because the film copies Ice Age the Meltdown and Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs with both their stories and premise. I don't mind films borrowing the same or similar story elements, but if they are making their own version in which the film is worse comparative to them, just does not work for me. Repetition of jokes started to get on my nerves more as I thought I would, because many of the jokes in the film are very funny, but they end up repeating constantly throughout, making them completely obvious without any lack of surprise or creativity. Then they take these similar basic structures of these jokes and just change the example, which becomes very lazy and boring. The film is very entertaining, but there are stretches of this movie that drag itself into a sinking wormhole with their more emotional scenes. They're not done badly by any means, but it feels so forced and generic because there isn't that much emotional weight to hold, considering there is no true main character we're focused on. This leads to another main issue, is that since we don't focus on one main character, we focus on a few, mainly Gug, Guy, and Eep. The rest of the gang are mostly there as comic relief or to help progress the other characters' arcs. There are simply plot devices and joke machines, which felt very disappointing. There is another animated film about a family that I can't think of right now. In that film, they are all extremely important to the film, all with their own backstories and arcs that feel vital for the rest of the film to work. Overall, this film is a mixed bag for me, as there are some great creative and humorous action sequences with likable characters that have a great message, but becomes a repetitive loop of all those great elements without a true sense of direction. This is as average as a movie can get. I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. You know, guys, have you seen The Croods? Did you guys enjoy it? And did you know a sequel is coming out next week to the theaters? I want to know all of that down below. As always, I will see you all in the next video.